The holographic display flickered across every screen in the Terran Defense Command Center. Juliana's hands trembled as she watched the Vakresh Empire's flagship hover over New Mumbai, its weapon ports glowing with malevolent energy. "This is Emperor Zarthok of the Vakresh Dominion." The translation matrix rendered his chittering voice into flat, emotionless standard. "Witness the price of defiance." The beam descended like the finger of an angry god. Juliana's breath caught in her throat as the entire subcontinent ignited in nuclear fire. 10 billion lives gone in 17 seconds. The broadcast continued, transmitted across every inhabited world in the galaxy, a demonstration of imperial might that had cowed civilizations for 3,000 years. "Captain Carter," Axel's voice cut through her shock. The young lieutenant stood at the tactical station, his face pale but his jaw set with determination. "We're receiving emergency protocols from Earth Command. They're authorizing ... everything." Juliana turned from the horrific display, her green eyes hardening. "Define everything, Lieutenant." "Project Pandora, ma'am." "Full deployment." The other officers in the command center fell silent. Project Pandora, the contingency that admirals whispered about in sealed chambers. The reason humanity had been quietly stockpiling antimatter for 2 centuries, while the galaxy's empires had dismissed them as primitive newcomers. "The Vakresh think they've made an example of us," Juliana said softly, her voice carrying an edge that made Axel straighten. "They're broadcasting their genocide to show the galaxy what happens to species who refuse to kneel." She pulled up the tactical display, showing the positions of the Vakresh fleet's 700 warships spread across human space like a plague. "Let's show them what happens when you slaughter humanity's children." Axel's fingers flew across his console. "Pandora Cordizadi online. We have, God, Captain, we have 4,000 autonomous hunter-killer platforms, each carrying enough antimatter to crack a moon. They've been hidden in the Kuiper belts of every human system, waiting." "The Vakerish scan for weapons," Juliana mused, pulling up the specifications. "But these platforms have no power signatures, no heat, no electromagnetic emissions, just cold, patient death waiting in the dark." "Exactly, ma'am. They're gravity-propelled, coating in perfect light-absorbing They've been called orphan stones in the briefing, silent, invisible, and utterly merciless." Juliana thought of New Mumbai, of the children who'd been playing in the streets, of the poets, the engineers, the teachers, the dreamers, all transformed into plasma and ash for a galactic broadcast. Her hand hovered over the authorization panel. Captain Axel said quietly, moving to stand beside her. "The Vakresh have subjugated 47 species. They rule through terror, through demonstrations like what we just witnessed. If we don't respond, they'll move to the next human world. And the next, until we're extinct or enslaved." She looked at him, barely 23 standard years old, fresh from the academy, thrust into a moment that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. "You understand what this means? We won't just be defeating them, we'll be making a statement that will echo for millennia." "Good," Axel replied, and there was nothing young in his eyes anymore. "Let it echo." Juliana pressed her palm to the panel. "Authorization Carter 7. Execute Project Pandora. All platforms, all targets. No mercy, no prisoners, no survivors." The command rippled out at faster-than-light speeds, carried by quantum-entangled communicators to 4,000 patient machines scattered across light years. In the darkness between worlds, ancient protocols awakened. The Vakresh never saw them coming. The first platform struck. Emperor Zarthok's flagship 37 minutes after New Mumbai's destruction. It had accelerated to 0.97 light speed, its antimatter payload calibrated for maximum effect. The resulting explosion created a miniature star that consumed the flagship and 17 surrounding vessels in an expanding sphere of annihilation. Across human space, the slaughter began. The Pandora platforms moved like vengeful ghosts, each one selecting its target with cold precision. Battlecruisers vanished in bursts of gamma radiation. Carrier groups found themselves at the center of Matanta cascades that left nothing but cooling plasma. Supply depots, communication relays, troop transports, everything bearing the Vakresh sigil died in fire. Juliana watched a tactical display update in real. Red icons, enemy vessels blinked out one by one, then in clusters, then in cascading waves as the autonomous platforms executed their terrible purpose. "They're trying to retreat," Axel reported, his voice tight, "requesting emergency jumps to hyperspace." "Denied," Juliana said flatly. "We seeded their jump points with sensor nets 3 months ago. Any ship that tries to enter hyperspace will find a Pandora platform waiting on the other side." The Vakresh Empire had ruled the Eastern Spiral Arm for 3 millennia. They had perfected the art of subjugation through spectacular violence, through making examples of the defiant. They had assumed Hume, scattered across barely 70 star systems, would be another easy conquest. They had never encountered a species that responded to genocide not with surrender, but with systematic annihilation. 18 hours after New Mumbai's destruction, the last Vikresh warship died in the cold dark between stars. Of the 700 ships that had entered human space, none remained. Juliana had kept the count. 400,000 Vikresh military personnel erased from existence. Captain Axel said, his voice hoarse. We're receiving transmissions from the Galactic community. The Shlari Concordat is, they're calling it the most decisive military action in recorded history. The Presian hegemony is requesting emergency diplomatic channels. Everyone wants to talk. Juliana stared at the now empty tactical display. 10 billion humans dead. 400,000 Vikresh. The math didn't balance, could never balance. But perhaps the message would open a channel, she said. All frequencies. Let everyone hear this. When the connection established, Juliana spoke with the voice of a species that had been pushed beyond its breaking point. This is Captain Juliana Carter of the Terran Defense Force. The Vikresh Empire broadcast their atrocity to demonstrate their power. We have broadcast our response to demonstrate our resolve. Humanity will not kneel. Humanity will not submit. And any empire that attempts genocide against us will find that we have prepared for war while you prepared for conquest. She paused, letting the weight of her words settle across the listening galaxy. We are humans, we remember our dead, and we are very, very patient. The transmission ended. Beside her, Axel let out a shaking breath. What now, Captain? Juliana looked at the star map, at the vast expanse of space where humanity's children would grow, would thrive, would remember. Now, Lieutenant, we build monuments for New Mumbai, and we make sure the galaxy never forgets why you don't slaughter humans. In the darkness between stars, 3,000 Pandora platforms remained, silent and waiting, just in case the lesson needed to be taught again.